Kia ora, my name's Anita and welcome back to my channel. As you know, I like to read a lot of books, review a lot of books and buy even more. Yes, so welcome back to my channel. I thought today I would randomly sit on the ground when I'm between two chairs. I thought today I would do the book rec tag. Now, I'm too new to Booktube, so no one specifically tagged me. So I tagged myself. I thought it would be quite a fun tag to showcase some different books than the ones I've already spoken about. Hopefully you can get something from today's video, and if you've read them, let me know. A book you tell people is your favourite. I don't just have one favourite book. The one most associated to me would be Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. This is one of my favourite books for many different reasons. It's heartbreaking, it's beautifully written, it pulls at the heartstrings. I still think about it, and I read it probably 2 years ago now. So this is one I recommend to people, but I also warn that there are a lot of trigger warnings in this book. So a lot of people either love it or hate it or DNF it. I almost DNF'd this book, but I'm glad someone told me to keep going because it's now a firm favourite of mine. Next one is a book that is your guilty pleasure. This one's probably going to feature quite a bit, and there'll be quite a few people on here that don't like these types of books, but my guilty pleasure is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a guilty pleasure of mine based on the fact that it's ice hockey, and ice hockey is my guilty pleasure. I didn't know how much I was going to enjoy this book. I just absolutely love the relationships. I love the personality of all the hockey guys. Side note, my husband has played ice hockey since he was 3. Main reason why I said yes to this book was because I wanted to compare Nate Hawkins to my husband. It doesn't sound very nice, but I wanted to see how this book portrayed the captain of an ice hockey team, because my husband was also a captain of an ice hockey team. After reading this book, I realised that I am yet to meet a person that is like Nate Hawkins. That man is a fictional man. So this one. A book that everyone loved but you didn't. So when I was searching for this book, I couldn't find it, but one I specifically remember rating low and giving a bad review. I mean, not bad review, it wasn't bad, but saying that I didn't enjoy it was Snowflake. I don't know. I mean, I read some weird books that had some weird things in it, but I just couldn't get into this book. I read the whole thing. There was something about it that I just didn't enjoy. Some of the comments that were made, I was just like, was it needed? Definitely wasn't, but I know that a lot of people that I follow on Instagram really enjoyed that book, so that's probably the only one that I can think of that I didn't enjoy as much. Next question is a book you read the fastest. I would say definitely The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This was one where I wanted to find out the ending. As I said in my last video, it was a page turner. Also, probably all Lisa Jewell books have been quick reads for me because I get hooked and I don't want to stop reading. So it'd probably be those ones. Next one, a book that deserves more hype. Probably before I started Bookstagram, I had read this book and I really enjoyed it. It is Wonderland by Juno Dawson. Now, from memory, I think it is YA. I actually used to read a lot of YA before I joined the Bookstagram community and was flooded with new recommendations. This one I really enjoyed. It's like an Alice in Wonderland retelling, but in like this day and age. Yeah, this was one I just don't see around a lot at all. Next question, a book that is becoming a TV show / movie. Mine would have to be Where the Crawdads Sing. That one was a definite favourite book of mine, and then when I went and saw the movie, I absolutely loved that too. I had really low expectations of enjoying the movie, but I surprisingly really enjoyed it. I think they did really well with the casting, with the storyline, making sure that it reflected the the story in the book. You know, a lot of things get missed out in retellings, and I just feel like they did a good job. And another book would be The Flat Share. That one, again, I went in really nervous that I wouldn't like the series, and I loved it. I had read the book like a while before the program came out, so it was more of like, oh, that's right, that happened. Oh yeah. So I kind of forgot what was actually getting missed out, but then it kind of started all coming back to me, and I was like, oh, actually no, that actually happened. Loved it. Next one is a book you have reread the most. Now, I have reread this book maybe 3 or 4 times, and that might not be much to some, but it also might be a lot. Scar Tissue by Anthony Kiedis. Now, I'm a huge Red Hot Chili Peppers fan. I love this book. Like, it is not in the best condition at all. I have owned this one for a number of years. Just like when you read it, you just can't believe that it's a memoir, that he lived the life he lived. Tore me to pieces and made me have so much more respect for him and them as a band. I just feel like now when I watch them or I listen to their music, I can see where it all started and how they got to where they are. So this is definitely one I have reread a lot, and I would reread again as long as it doesn't fall apart in my hands. My feet are going numb now from sitting on the ground, so I don't think this was a very good idea. If you see me moving around, it's purely because my feet are numb. A book from a genre you don't typically read. Okay, so one that I don't tend to read as much are short stories. And I don't know why I don't read them as much. I think unless I get sent them or someone has actually recommended them and I spot it and they love it, I won't pick it up. But this one, Games and Rituals by Katherine Heine, is that how you say it? I really enjoyed this. She's the author of Early Morning Riser. Now, I haven't read that. Anything that Lisa Jewell comments on, I'll read. I'm not going to go into detail about all the stories, but I highly recommend picking this up. It was such an easy read, and I think I read it at the right time too. So I, like Lisa Jewell said, these stories stuck with me. Good one. The next question is a book that deserves all the hype it gets. Now, I'm all about the hyped books. Let's delve in. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Not everyone has read this next one yet, but from the hype I know it will get, and it already is getting, is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. That's the next one in the series. This one deserves the hype it gets. My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otisa Moshfegh. I love this book, and it gets a lot of hype and then it gets a lot of hate, but I'm on the hype side for this one. Absolutely. And another Moshfegh is Eileen. Again, you're either going to love it, you're going to hate it, but I hype this book and I feel like it deserves the hype. Okay, so we had to move. I literally cannot feel my feet right now, so off the floor onto here. I've got the book stacked beside me. Just have to try do it from here. Okay, the next one is a book you'd recommend when asked. Given Betty, I'm always recommending that. Only to certain people. I'm always recommending Oe by Becky Manawatu. This is such a heartbreaking book, but it's so relevant to the New Zealand culture. It's just so much to unpack with this book. The next question is a book that has your favourite characters. I'm going to say Icebreaker and Wildfire. Icebreaker for Nate Hawkins and all the hockey guys, and Wildfire for Russ. But also the fact that the characters from this book go into this book, and I just love the friendships. That like almost goes into the next question. The next one is a book you wish you could live in. Probably these two. Only because of the friendships. There's hockey, there's good banter, there's great love stories. Is that my life now? I could say something that happens in Wildfire that's quite similar, but that could be giving it away. That could be a spoiler, and we ain't doing no spoilers around here. I want to live in those books. There's a knock at the door. it was book mail. So the next one is a book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. Mine would be Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I think I go into anything that says love on the front thinking, cheesy, it's not going to be that interesting. I'm just going to be like, ah. But this I did find really good and really coming of age, and I really enjoyed it. So this is that one. I'm just like piling books like all over myself. So the next one is a book that made you cry. A book that made me cry 4 times is this one, Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. I know I said that this is like one that I recommend to everyone and one that is my favorite. And yes, you can have a favorite book and it can also break your heart. It can break your heart, it can make you cry, it can make you really sad and upset, but it can still be your favorite. So don't rule out sad books and think, like it made me sad, it made me cry. Why would it be my favorite? Are you a psycho? Do you just love pain? No, it's just that there's other things that even out this book and it all makes sense. This is definitely one. I can't remember if there are any more. There probably is. Oh, actually, I did add this one in. Bodies of Light by Jennifer Down. This is by an Australian author and I was sent this about a year or 2 ago. A side note, when I got sent this book, the copy that I had stopped at like say 200 pages and then missed like hundreds of pages. And I was like, wait, like I've just, what? I'm going back and forth, and then I shared it on my Instagram and I was like, has anyone had this happen where there was like 100 pages missing? I can't skip that much because this book, every kind of part of the story needs to be read to know what this woman went through and why she's the way she is now. So when I had missed that many pages, I freaked out. Anyway, Text Publishing reached out and replaced the copy with the correct one. So I cried. This is heartbreaking. This has a lot of trigger warnings, so please do your research first and check what those trigger warnings are, because I feel like you need to know going into this that if you relate to anything, you could be very triggered, because it is a hard read and that's why it made me cry. So, and the last one is a book you wish you could reread for the first time. Okay, I'm gonna say The Silent Patient, because the shock of the ending, I would like to feel that again. My guesswork was incorrect. I would not have been a good detective throughout that book, because I would have been sniffing around the wrong side of town. This might be a bit of a shocking one, but Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I may have read this at the right time for me, because this was one that I'd escape to the bar and read and really enjoy. And this is one that I know quite a few people didn't enjoy, or they didn't like it. But this is one that I annotated the absolute crap out of. I must have enjoyed quite a few things in it to annotate like an absolute psycho. Another one I would like to read for the first time would be The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. That was a wild, wild ride, and I do own a copy. I just can't be bothered standing up and going and grabbing it because I think it's at the bottom of my cupboard. But that book, I swear, still lives very vividly in my mind as if it's a movie. I would love to see that as a movie. I know in America, and I'm not sure where else, it's actually called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. It's called The 7 Deaths here in New Zealand. Don't ask me why. I don't understand why we dropped the half. Something about that book I want to feel for the first time again. The pictures that I pictured, I just want to redo it all again. For the first time. But yes, that is the book rec tag done. It's really hard to say actually. Yeah, I quite enjoy doing these types of videos. If you have read any of these books and feel the same way as me, actually even if you didn't like them or you didn't feel the same way as me, or if you don't feel like that they deserved a spot where I put them, let me know in the comments below, because you know, reading is all about the personal experience. So we all read differently and we all experience books differently. I'm really enjoying being on Booktube. I know that it can be quite challenging to start off with, so I'm well prepared. It seems like there's already such a nice community reaching out, and I'm loving getting to know more people on here. My family and friends and everyone on Bookster and TikTok have been amazing with the support, and I'm loving the fact that you guys are down in the comments, you know, supporting these videos. You guys are all there to support me, so that's awesome. So again, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, if you're new, and I hope wherever you are in the world you are having the most amazing day, and look after yourselves. I'll see you in my next video. Awesome. See you later, guys.